Hey everybody, welcome back to the Arcane Lounge podcast. Today we've got Davvy Chappy here with us today to be on the podcast. Hello!
Howdy, how's it going? My name's Davvy Chappy.
And in case you guys don't know who Davvy Chappy is, shame on you. But Davvy, who are you? Who is you?
So my name is David R. Chapman. I was born somewhere in the 1990s in a town called Fraser, Michigan. It's very small, so sort of near Detroit.
Somewhere in the 1990s.
The world doesn't need to know what my age is. It keeps me eternally youthful, but also old enough to buy alcohol. At some point in my life, I graduated college. And by college, I mean high school. And while I was actually in college, I began working on a YouTube channel that I decided to name after myself because I'm narcissistic. And talking about the only thing that I really understood, which was Dungeons & Dragons. I named the channel Davvy Chappy, and as of now, it still hasn't overtaken XP to level 3, but this year might be the one.
What?
Someday.
This year you're coming after me.
The best.
It's coming soon. I'm gonna request that from our guests from now on, is that they have to tell us like the life story beforehand. Otherwise, the audience needs all the context. It's that important.
My father was a drunk. My mother, she never paid attention to me.
Oh my god.
The only thing that I had
therapy.
to look forward to in my life was rolling dice. Anyway.
Same though.
Yeah, right.
You know,
I feel like we can all
relate
resonate
to that one.
some
Yes,
level.
exactly. So, I heard on your recent video that you moved recently.
Oh yeah. So I lived at my parents' to start with, because of course, and then I moved into an apartment complex for about a year, and after that year was up, the rent started to get weirdly high, and also it's COVID.
Oh.
So I decided.
Oh yeah.
So I was like asking around in my friend group, and one of my friend's friends happened to be looking for someone to like room with because he had a house, but he like is all alone in a tiny house or in a huge house with a tiny dog. So it was perfect. Now I get to be.
Oh, that's
now
great.
I get to be alone in a huge house with a tiny dog, while he works all day.
Nice. Oh, that's great. Yeah. Oh, the life of a YouTuber. I just get to stay home and be a cool guy.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
You have me, though.
Oh,
Yeah, that's true.
You don't get to be alone.
the only downside is back pain because I'm on this computer all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Relatable.
YouTube. I get to be alone and have back pain.
Yeah.
I made another joke earlier with you that you're still the temp at XP to level 3. So I was like, "Temp, can you get me some water?" And she did.
Yeah.
COVID update.
Right.
Because we have that now. So, in case you don't know, Davvy, Spencer got tested positive for COVID like
No.
a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
Spencer, no. Are you dead? Did you die from it?
No, I mean, I felt awful for like probably the last week, like the week before last, something like that. I don't know.
Don't listen to lies, guys. Spencer's a ghost and has been for the past week.
Yeah, it was terrible. But I mean, I'm young and I did not die.
Ah, well.
Not yet. At
Here's
least.
hoping.
I bet by the end of the
Yeah.
week when we get ourselves tested again,
Yeah.
I think it's either completely gone or at least by next week it will be.
My smell is almost back, but I can only smell like things that smell bad.
Yeah, I've heard.
Like it's terrible.
I've heard that your senses go when you get COVID because I've had a couple friends actually who ended up getting COVID, and their sense of taste went away completely, and it was.
Yes.
So did hers. It sucked.
It was like a gradual descent into no taste or smell. Like I usually light a candle when we stream, and I was like, this smelled so good like 2 days ago, and now I can't smell it at all. And then the day after that was like, oh, I can't taste my coffee. That's really strange. And then like 2 days after that, I got tested, and I was like, yep, you got COVID, kid. But
And it's awful because on the podcast I'm starting to feel that like I'm never gonna predict the future ever again because on the podcast I'm like I don't think you have it and it's like next week bum. It was a fun time. It was real great.
it's really bad though, because like normally I can't smell things. Like usually you're like, oh, something smells bad. Like help me figure out what it is. But like the house just smells weird in places, and I don't know if it's because like
It's
my
just
smell is coming back. It's like really powerful now because I haven't had it for so long.
Like how we rule dying in like D&D. When you come back, everything hurts because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, life is pain. Just your sense of smell comes back. You're like, oh, everything just kind of smells awful
Yeah.
all the time. So, yeah. So how's the YouTube grind? I hated saying that sentence so much. How's your work been going? Making videos and stuff?
Well, after hearing that, one more of my brain wrinkles went smooth. But besides that, yeah, I mean, hey, I make a video a week. I'll write it up, and I'll record it up, and I'll edit the recording, and then I'll send that recording to Emma. So,
whoa, do you have an editor?
So here's the thing. At the beginning of 2020, I got myself an editor. She's my good friend Emma. She's great. Emma, if you're watching this, tell Mom I said hi. She's not my sister.
Just tell Mom.
But
tell your mom or tell her mom.
She'll figure it out, and if she gets it wrong, I'll fire her. So anyway, at the
she tells both moms.
There's only one correct answer. But at the beginning of 2020, I got an editor because I was expecting that I was going to be doing bigger and more extravagant videos, some things in the real world, perhaps. But then, and you may not be aware of this, a global pandemic struck the world. And so...
I think I heard about that, yeah. I think I heard about that a little bit.
And so, I've had an editor for like over a year. Well, about a year. And I have nothing to do with this free time now. All I do is write new scripts. Like, once I finish working, I think to myself, I don't have anything to do for like the next 5 days. Might as well write the next thing.
But like at the same time though, it's like, because I've thought about it too, but I really enjoy editing. Like it's kind of like the part I really like out of my videos, and I definitely should have an editor. But like, is it like relieving for you to just be like, I just have to write a script? It's not that hard.
I wouldn't say relieving. You're right. Like, as far as editing goes, I didn't have a problem with that. I found it very easy, and it was a pretty cathartic thing to do, just relaxing to like...
So it was more that you like wanted to get on like a bigger schedule, and then you just didn't.
And then I just couldn't.
Okay.
I could not. Yeah. All of a sudden, I would go outside, and the Rona would be floating down the street like, I'm watching you.
He would have a gun pointed at you as you walk down the street. Just be like, get back in your house, Davvy, Chappy. Get back in!
Yes. She does have a gun. It's scary.
Yeah.
I was gonna do...
And she only shoots you directly in the nose.
Yeah.
And also the tongue.
Yeah, and also the tongue. So, yeah. Well, I'm glad life hasn't been incredibly and horribly difficult for you. Unless it has, and this is all a facade.
Oh, independently of YouTube, yes, my life has been pretty awful and horrible. But that's, I mean, same. That comes with clinical depression, so.
Yeah, it does.
Good times.
Good times.
Yay!
And I would ask that you never bring it up again, please.
Okay. Right.
We're all just the crying cat Twitter response meme with the cowboy hat, and it's just got the thumbs up. So, all right. So we got some. Wait, what?
Well, I was going to ask, since you wanted to inquire as to my personal life. How are you doing? How has the grind been for you in both YouTube and non-YouTube land? What do you mean?
It's been good.
That's whole sentence.
So I.
Title and description.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. No, I've been working on so I have this awful, horrible brain, and
right.
it likes to go, all right, so here's your work and here's your project, and then while I'm doing those things, a different project completely unrelated to those two things is infinitely more interesting and more cool. So I put all that aside and go, this.
And it's always something that isn't necessary to your work life. So you're like, I need to do these 4 videos this month, but also this.
But also, I need to 24/7 work on this dumb thing over here.
Yeah.
And I can't tell the audience
what it is.
I'm going to cut it out, and I'm just going to tell you, Davvy. So sorry, audience.
Oh my God, Jacob! That is such a cool and interesting thing that you have just told me.
Isn't that super cool that nobody will ever know ever?
The chat doesn't get to hear about it because you just cut to my reaction. But wow, is it cool?
There's gonna be. I want everybody to speculate on what you thought it was and put it in the Discord, and I will ignore all of them.
I'll give you a hint. It has to do with the words that came out of Jacob's mouth.
All right, so do you want to bust down on some questions that we got from the chat on Twitter? The chat.
Let's get these deets ready.
So I had one in here that I really like. All right, so at @FellTheLab, who asks a question every single time we do this podcast, asks, "You're home alone. You've just learned of a severe zombie outbreak in your hometown, and you have 1 hour of internet access. You have to use the 1 hour immediately, and before you can do anything else. How do you do it? Or you have to use the 1 hour immediately, and before you can do anything else. How do you use it? That is a good question.
Right. Okay. So it's a zombie apocalypse. The apocalypse is upon us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like the internet, I guess, is gonna go out in like an hour. You only have an hour.
Porn.
Do you just download porn?
Look, I'm gonna. Yep. No downloading. You watch it. You lay on the ground in your house. You die.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
All right.
It's over.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to do.
You just you just give up.
It's a zombie apocalypse, and it has already happened. By watching enough movies, I know that exactly one person out of a group of roughly 7, it like might survive. I am not lucky enough to be that 1 out of 7. So instead, I will go down the path of least resistance.
But would it be an hour, or would it just be like 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and then you're just like, now what? you just keep going.
You're like, well, so after the first time, it's like, well, I have 35 minutes left, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I've started down this road, and there is no fate but what we choose for ourselves.
I was gonna say, like, I bet people have written like guides or something like that. You could print it out.
Oh my god.
But like, and then you said porn, and I was like, oh, you could download the porn and save it for later. And you're like, no, I'm just gonna spend the whole hour just watching porn and dying.
You mentioned that someone's written guides, so you know the secret here is I can watch the porn, and then if I choose not to die, if my self-preservation kicks in, I have Max Brooks's Zombie Survival Guide, the book. I don't know if you know this, but remember that shitty World War Z movie with Brad Pitt?
Yeah.
Well, that's based off of a not shitty book called World War Z that had its own spin-off called the Zombie Survival Guide. And I think I bought mine in 2007 when I was a very young child. And I've had it ever since. It's sat in my closet. It hasn't been useful yet, but maybe now, after the porn.
Matt, now it will be. You're going to need it at this point in time. What would you do with an hour, Spencer?
I don't know what I would do. Maybe look up some, like, is it just our town that is overrun by zombies?
No, it's. I think Fel said it's completely worldwide.
I think he said
severe zombie outbreak. Oh, it's just in your hometown.
Wait, really?
Oh, then I'm just gonna.
Oh shit!
You fucked up, Fel. You only said your hometown.
I messed up.
I could drive for 30 minutes and be okay.
This is why I would fail. I'd see zombies outside, assume the worst, and die.
Yeah. So what I would do is.
Well, it would spread though.
But what I would do is I would alert local areas that there is a zombie outbreak in this town.
In the freaking hero.
But
here.
I would wait until, like, I don't know, how long would it take us to get out of this town? Like 10 minutes if we go that way? Mm-hmm. I'd be like, okay, I'd wait till 50 minutes and then I would leave. And in that 10 minutes, hopefully someone from somewhere else could come and just, start shooting zombies. And I'd be out of town.
Well, you know what, Spencer? Davvy and I would be shooting our load on the ground while you're being a hero.
Well, there's a thought, though. You say it's like... Fel the Leb says that it's just confined to your own town. Well, my town has other towns connected to it. So is there just an invisible barrier that will prevent the zombies from leaving? Because I could walk out my door, go a couple of blocks, and then it's done. Like, the zombies can't hit me anymore. They'll run at me, and I'll remind them, oh, I'm on 2nd Street. You can't get me.
Yep.
I would spend my hour in a town nearest to us looking up an Enterprise rent-a-car, and I would just
we own a car.
Drive away.
We own a car. Why would you waste the time?
I have to use the internet somehow.
Local bus routes out of town.
Oh man. At No Nat Ones, God, you know what, Fel? At No Nat Ones, you gotta let other people have questions. Asks, how do you personally deal with pre-game jitters? Even after 7 years of DMing, I still get butterflies even before every session, even as a player.
Shot of gin.
10
minutes before.
What are you, an old woman who's born in the 20s?
Yes.
Who drinks gin?
I love gin.
Gin's disgusting.
My vice is
so
Midori. It's a liqueur. It's like a melon. You mix it in with other drinks like Coke and cocaine.
I can't. Oh, I can't. I can't drink while I DM. I can drink while I play. Like if I sometimes I played and I've had like a beer or something, and that's fine. I'm not like. It actually kind of sometimes helps a little bit because I can be like, this is like a little fun. But if I'm DMing and if there's any alcohol in my system, it's all gone. I can't do it. The game will devolve into something really stupid, and it's a bad time.
I mean, I don't drink during my games. I make sure that I don't do that because it impairs my sense of not being alcoholic. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
As far as pre-game jitters, though, I mean, besides the basic answer of "toughen up, Buttercup," I suppose the best thing is to remind yourself that no matter what happens, as long as your players are having fun, you're not going to get yelled at. So whatever you're nervous about isn't really super going to matter.
That's very good advice. Yes.
I was also joking. I never drink when we stream.
What?
We've done one drunk game, and it was terrible. But I do
I'm pretty sure I did during like an Avnia game, and I was like, that was a bad idea.
We did a 24-hour stream.
Oh fuck no, those don't count.
I was a little zooted, and it shows, so I don't do it anymore.
A couple of times, Davvy, we've done like these 24-hour streams, and they're a rough time. No, 12, not 24. God, we don't hate ourselves.
I've done 24-hour streams.
12 hours. Well, okay.
Wait, no, we did do a 24-hour stream, but didn't the file get corrupted? Like, we recorded all of it.
No, we've only done 12.
The Skyrim thing.
No, it was 12.
It was 12?
Yep.
Oh, well.
You're awake for
Candles
longer
help.
than 12 hours. 12 isn't even a question.
That's fair, yeah. We should do 24. Yeah. We need to bump it up.
And hey, invite me. I'd love to hurt myself even more.
Yes, that's a great idea. I streamed for like 9 hours on Saturday, and I was so tired.
Well, the chat should definitely pressure Jacob into doing a 24-hour live stream and inviting his best friend, Davvy Chappy.
Guys, no, don't listen to Davvy, okay? Don't stop. Then I'm gonna have to do it.
Well, you see, I was gonna say, you see, unfortunately, the only thing that what I found with fans is the only thing that they love more than loving you is hating you.
That's very true. That's, oh my god, yes.
Fun to watch people suffer.
Yep. It's okay, we all deserve it.
Yeah, you don't do anything else.
Right.
The way I get rid of my pregame jitters is I'm gonna give the actor advice from being a little theater kid, which is I still use it today, so it's actually what I do. I always try to, and it's such a dumb answer because it's such like a how do you do that? You can do it if you practice. I redirect the energy. It sounds like Uncle Iroh taught me how to redirect the fire bending, the lightning bolt into something else. No, really, I take all the nervous energy that I have and I just put it into my excited energy that is to run and play the game. So the more nervous I am, the more like, all right, guys, we're going to go into combat. We're going to do this. Like, I just start, I go crazy. So if you can find a way to take all of that nervousness and like jitters and just like put it into what you're doing, it'll go away. And for me, it mostly goes away within like the first 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, why was I nervous? This was nothing. So
you're a theater kid?
Or, toughen up, Buttercup.
You were a theater kid?
I was a theater kid.
What is your favorite performance?
I did theater. That I did or in general?
In general or that you've done. I want to hear what you've done now, though. I didn't realize this is a new side of you.
Well, okay, so I did a lot of children's theater when I was a children.
That doesn't count.
And then, it was like second to, I started in like third grade. And then I kept going all the way until like junior high, and then I kind of slowed down during high school. But I think I did musicals too sometimes, but I didn't necessarily like them very much. I think one I really liked being in was You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. That was fun. I was also in Anything Goes when I was a little bit younger, but it was weird because it was a high school show, but I was in like 7th grade, but they still let me be in it, and I don't know why. So
you were that
weird.
Good of an actor, apparently.
Apparently, I was just that built different that they let me be in the show.
They needed a little white boy.
Yeah.
To do something.
My favorite show I ever was in probably was when I was a little kid. I was in I was in this show called Ransom of Red Chief. It's an old movie, and then one of our directors like made it into a play, and it's about this kid who gets he's like this rich kid who gets abducted by these kidnappers, and it's like the 1920s, I think. It's like ye olde times, and they want to ransom him for a bunch of money, but the kid is just so damn annoying that that they end up starting to like pay the family to take him back. And I was the kid, and that was a lot of fun because it was basically just like adults, and I got to be mean to them, and it was super fun time.
That's funny.
So yeah, it was a good time. And then I was also in the Heights in college, and that was cool. I was like, my friend Jack brings it up though. Is like, Jacob, do you think we should have been in that show? And I'm like, I don't know, man, because it's about like the minorities who live in New York and Washington Heights, and like Jack and I were like, we're the two white guys in the show. But it was a really fun show to be in. It was so cool. So those were probably my favorite that I did. Did you do theater, Davvy?
Well, I didn't really do theater in high school, nor did I do theater in college, nor did I do theater in middle or elementary school. But I also didn't do theater outside of school, so no, I didn't do any theater.
Got it. I thought you were going to be like, but one time I was a baby in a play.
I mean,
and that was
I did.
Baby Jesus.
I was a member of the Lollipop Guild in 3rd grade, but I don't really go around
nice.
Talking up that exploit. While I was the most important
I wish
member
I was
of
in
the
the
cast.
Lollipop Guild.
While I was the most important member of the cast, I tend to be a bit more humble than that. So
it's interesting. You totally like. From my experience, you definitely seem like somebody who's been like, oh yeah, I've been in this show and this show and this show and this show and this show, and it's like, whoa, yeah, okay. But like, that's crazy.
I've been told that a lot. Apparently, I should have gotten into theater when I was in high school or middle school or elementary school or college, any of those things.
Maybe
or outside
you were,
of school.
and you just removed all the
Yeah,
memories.
maybe I'm lying to you. Maybe I was a very important theater kid. Maybe I was in Brigadoon in high school and fucking killed it.
Hang on.
No one knows.
So, Spencer, did you do any theater?
Yes,
I did. I was in 2 shows in high school, and it was not good.
We did
2 shows together. That was gross. Yeah. I only tried out for a show my freshman year because you said you were also going to try out for it. So yeah, I was in a show my freshman year and my sophomore year, and then they fired our drama teacher and director, and I was like, I'm done. I don't like the new guy, and then I wasn't in anything else.
Nice. Those are fun shows.
Rest in peace, Jordan Roberts.
Yeah. He didn't die.
He didn't die. He just got fired.
I was gonna say, was he fired with a gun?
No.
Yes.
Getting conflicting answers.
No, he was one of our what?
One of us only tells
I was
lies.
imagining Helen with a gun.
Oh yeah. Our old teacher. No, he just Jordan was one of our he was our English teacher, and he was so awesome, and he's like a friend now because he's just a cool guy, and he plays in our game during every other Friday on Evenfall on Arcane Arcade, and he didn't get tenured at our old school,
fired.
and we all got really mad. And there was actually this is a fun story. In one of his classes, let me just point out, he was like the cool teacher. Like we had all these other teachers, and then he was like, this guy understood us. He really related to us, and he was really great at teaching his classes. A lot of fun. And then in one of like our Friday elective classes for like drama, all of us were like seniors. We watched Dead Poets Society, and I love that movie. It's so good, and it was, and he showed it to me, which was really cool. And so, and if you know, at the end of that movie, when Robin Williams leaves the classroom, all the students stand on their desks and they go, "Oh, Captain, my Captain." We did a final when we knew Jordan wasn't going to be at the school next year. We had a final assembly at in like the big assembly hall, and then as like our principal came up and was like doing like the final kind of like, okay, we're gonna end the assembly, one of our students, one of our fellow senior classmates stood up on his chair and turned towards Jordan and said, "Oh, Captain, my Captain." And we all fucking did it, and it was cool, and he cried and we cried, and it was a wonderful moment.
I'm glad that I could unlock a core memory for you.
Yeah, sometimes I forget that, and I remember it, and I'm like, oh, we kicked ass. Anyways, here's another question you can stew on while I reset the camera. If you had to play, this is from @GeneralDroid. If you had to play a fuck, marry, kill with a Sahuagin, a Null, and a Mind Flayer, who would you pick for each?
Fuck the Null.
You're gonna fuck the Null? Why?
Fuck the Null. I don't know. Mind Flayers are creepy and will probably eat you.
But they got.
And I don't remember what the other one was. So the Null's the only choice. The Null's the only choice. Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood this relationship.
No,
fuck the Mind Flayer. No, I understand. I was thinking of something different. I was thinking of a different relationship. Perhaps if we switch this around, yes.
Involves your pee-pee.
Fuck the squid.
Fuck the squid.
Yeah, they can suck those brains out. Are you kidding me? That's the Gluck Gluck 9000. I would probably oh Jesus Christ. I don't want to marry any of them. Maybe the Sahuagin.
Yeah, I would also marry the Sahuagin.
Because I feel like the Null would be like crazy and I don't want to deal with that. And then I will kill the Null.
Yeah. I think we're all on the same page here.
Really?
I think I think that you are all being fools about this.
Oh.
The Sahuagin would be
What the hell did you just say? You son of a bitch.
Do
not say you and your fucking Asmodeus and Sahuagin.
I apologize that I understand how to pronounce things, Jacob.
You don't.
Perhaps if you went to literary school, you would have the same vernacular as I would. But unfortunately, you chose theater.
I wake up every day, Davvy, and choose violence.
I wake up every day and choose fish. In any case, if you marry that Sahuagin, then your bedside is always going to be soggy and moist.
That's fair, but would the Sahuagin sleep in my bed, or would the Sahuagin sleep in like at their own tank?
That's not marrying. That's sort of just staying
but
together.
But if I had to pick one to marry, we would kind of have to be like a little separate, you know. And I'm
I don't
okay
know. I
with
feel
that.
like the Mind Flayer would be a good cuddler.
Yeah, you wake up
you
one
know,
day
tentacles all wrapped around you.
Oh.
They usually like wear the same very long draped clothing.
Mind Flayer's
so,
also very intelligent. So that's true.
They know all the best cuddle positions.
Yeah, or that, yeah.
And as for the Null, if you kill the Null, Nulls, I believe, or is it something else? But this is sort of testing my D&D cred. I'm fairly certain if you kill a Null, it's going to turn into black sludge and then make more demons.
Oh shoot, I forgot about that. I just have a bigger problem.
So you're not really you're not really solving your problem. You're just creating it.
Kill the Sahuagin. Fuck the Null. But that, man, that'd be rough.
Yeah, there we are.
That'd be a time.
And now you've arrived where I am. This is process of elimination.
And marry the Mind Flayer? The Mind Flayers do like slaves, though.
Hey, I can be a bottom. Can you? Are you ready? Are you willing to switch?
Guys, I'm really being put on the spot here.
Just answer the question, Jacob.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think you do know. You do. Next question.
At Voidwalker, at Soy Void asks, what was the worst death you had in 5e? You got one?
Unfortunately, it's not for 5e. Oh. It's not for 5e, but it is for D&D.
But if it's a good story, then do it.
So a long time ago, I was with a group of friends that would run D&D just generally. They would always like do little one-shot campaigns that were just ideals. It's like in this instance, it was we were all drow from the Underdark, escaping from our city because a different family had taken over and didn't like us, so we were all running away. Well, we were running through the caves of the Underdark when, unfortunately, we happened upon a layer of spider eggs with a bunch of giant spiders inside.
Okay.
One of us was a Mind Flayer, one of us was a Drider, the rest of us were drow. I had befriended the Drider, and so was riding on its back. And as we were all fleeing as fast as we could from a large amount of spiders that were chasing us down a cave, a cavernous system, The Mind Flayer, being ever the resourceful one, knew that these spiders were going to crawl faster than we could run and would overtake us if something didn't stop them.
Oh, no.
So, in a fit of self-sacrifice, the Mind Flayer turned, faced all of the spiders, reached behind him, and grabbed me and chucked me into the pile.
Oh no.
I died that day, but the rest of my party lived.
My God. That's kind of awesome. Were you mad?
I was furious. Because I was 13
Oh, okay,
and I didn't play D&D enough.
Yeah. So you were like the dude. That was my character.
It was like I wasn't even upset that I died just in general. I was upset that I died out of circumstance. That I happened to be what he reached and grabbed.
Yeah.
But
he gripped something, I squeaked, and he's like, good enough. Yeet!
At least you died for something, though. I feel like a lot of people get upset when they just die, and it's just like, oh yeah, you just rolled bad. It's like it was just you just died for no reason.
But at the same time, I was a drow, so I mean, when it comes to me or everybody else, if it has to be me, fuck those guys. It's not gonna be me.
What's your worst 5e death? You play more than I do.
So
I think
I've only
had like a character.
I've only actually died in 5e twice, and one of them was very recent. It was probably like a month ago. It was in Craig's game. We were Craig's game is pretty insane, and
for those of you that don't know, we have a friend named Craig.
Yes, he's on Arcane. He's on Arcane Arcade.
He plays Tiff on in Tomb, and he plays Baron in Adventures of Avernus.
And in his game, I play a high elf paladin, and we were going to fight these hags because they were working with some liches, and my character hated the liches, and they were like hiding out in this barn. It was a coven of them, and there was like 3 layers to the barn, and my character was trying to get to the top where the hags actually were. They were just like casting spells down at us, and they had like some weird like construct, I think it was, and it was also attacking us, and there was poison spray, cloud
there was like
kill.
poison on the floor, and the house
kill,
was also shooting spears at us.
Yes, the house's beams like would come to life and stab people. And your character was like on the 2nd floor, ended up flying down to try to get me to bring me up.
Yeah, because we needed to kill those hags.
Because we needed to kill
spellcasters, and they were being assholes because they had counter spell and shit.
Yeah,
it was annoying.
As your character flew down, they took the damage from the cloud kill and went down. So I turned around to go to you and was impaled by 3 of the beams because I was the only person that was still up.
What happened? I flew away from one of them, got attack of opportunity. The damage was enough to for me to lose concentration on fly. I hit the ground, which did damage, and then the poison finished me off.
Yeah, so you died instantly in that.
Well, I died, and then on my next turn, I breathed poison, and just Craig was like, "You're dead."
And then, because I was the only person still conscious, the house focused me, and I went from like 90 hit points to instantly dead in a round.
Craig had a vendetta that day.
Yeah.
And it was a rough time.
Oh, we died together.
No.
Oh. Yeah. And then the other time was Tesseract, and I'm still salty about it.
Yeah, that was the one I was going to mention, was Tesseract, when we TPK'd at the end of the Mandrago arc, and it just kind of came out of nowhere. We were like, we got to rescue Olo, and then we went in, and then Mandrago was being an asshole, and he was like, haha, I summoned the creatures from the great beyond. And we're like, okay, we can fight these, and then he pelted us with fucking magic stones from the top of like a balcony, and then we couldn't leave, and we also didn't have Olo. And then we just died. Like, I don't really remember much. I was just like, I don't think we can kill these things. We just died.
I didn't mind that we died. What upset me is we didn't get death saving throws. We were just like, Logan was like, you're dead.
Oh, yeah.
And
Wait, really?
Yeah, we didn't get death saving throws. I was the last person to go down, and then Logan was like, all right, you guys are all dead.
Dang.
Yeah.
I don't think I've had another character. One time a giant hit me with a club and I died. What?
I just remembered that game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I haven't died that much, though, so.
You don't play that much.
Yeah. Davvy, you like Counterspell.
I'm sorry, you caught me while I was eating. Yeah, I love Counterspell. I think it's a very good spell when it's never put into the game.
Do you just like whenever you run, do you just like refuse to use it?
What I do is I make it so that regardless of what the spell DC is, or rather, regardless of what the level of the spell is, you always have to roll for it. So at the very least, there is some idea that it might just not go off.
I kind of like that.
If there, because if it's never a question, then of course you're going to use counterspell, and so counterspell is exacerbated in that fact. Not only because it's just instantly sucks to be you, your turn's done, but also you know it's going to work. So if you just make it a DC every time, people will at the very least consider it. And then even if it does continue to be a problem, it's not going to be as much of a problem because people won't use it as often.
Yeah. Have you ever had like a game where it's like there's like two people that have it and it just like chains like crazy? It's like counterspell, I counterspell the counterspell. I think they're going to counterspell your counterspell to counterspell the counterspell.
I had a game with 4 people, 2 on my side, 2 on the enemy side that had counterspell.
Oh my God.
And it was...
It's
like, why?
It's a Harry Potter battle. It's just Expelliarmus the entire time.
It's just dread. Poorly written spell.
Yeah. I like the being able to roll it though. I think that does add a lot of risk to it. I think that makes it interesting, which is pretty cool. So
super easy.
I might have to start doing that.
People see the videos that I make about like parts of the game that I don't enjoy, and I always like have things at the very end where that would fix the problems that I have with them. But people never get to that part. As soon as like someone who really likes counterspell sees it, they watch like 5 seconds. They're like, all right, this boy, he doesn't like what I like. He's got to go down.
Oh man, that's so annoying. I always hate when it's because like I'm the same way with like Dispel Magic. Even though like I talked shit about it, I'm like I still fucking use it. Like I just think it's kind of silly, and I kind of wish that. I actually don't really think about it. I completely almost disagree with myself in that previous video because I rewatched it like recently and I was like, it's not that bad. It's okay. And I think I actually think it's more interesting to have a spell that nullifies spells than to just for it to not be there. Like I feel like if Dispel Magic didn't exist, I would be like, do you know what a really cool spell idea for D&D would be? Dispel Magic. Then you could like get rid of spells. And it's like, Jacob, you freaking hypocrite. So
that's how I was because you asked me once, is like Counterspell versus Dispel Magic, which one's worse? And for me, it's always Counterspell because that one actively makes your turn go away.
Yes.
If you cast a spell and someone counters it, there's no save, there's nothing you can do about it. You just lose your action for the turn, which usually is your turn. As far as Dispel Magic goes, that is somebody else using their action to get rid of something that exists. So not only do you not waste your turn because your spell did go off, they then have to take their turn to get rid of the spell.
Yeah, and so like the action economy actually really plays out with Dispel Magic, which is good. But in Counterspell, it's just like, oh, did you want to do that? I guess another way you could make Counterspell better in that aspect is allowing people to still have their turn, but they can't cast a spell. So instead of it being, so it's like, okay, well then I'll just attack with my dagger. So at least it's just like, and it's like, no. And it's like, oh, all right, that's my turn. It's just, I did nothing.
That's a good way to do it.
At Himross777, freaking Himross, Davvy already made a video about this, you idiot. What are your thoughts on the new Gothic Lineages UA as well as the switch from races to lineages? I think it's fine.
Do you want to? As you said, I made a video on this, but if you want, I can paraphrase.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
As for the actual content, the Dampier, Hexblood, and the Freeborn, was it? The Dampier and the Hexblood, I enjoy a lot. I think that the Dampier's Fang's ability is a little strange because it is a simple melee weapon, and everybody is memeing on it for not being a natural weapon.
Well, that's kind of weird. You just
it's real weird.
I'm gonna pull out my fangs and just stab people.
Yep. The weirdest thing is, so I have an in-person game, and I was driving one of my friends to it, and as we were in the car, he just turns to me, he's like, you know what I hate about the Dampier's fangs? And I'm like, this is an interesting conversation we're having at random. What is it? And he says, if I'm a Hexblade, can I attune to my fangs? Or an Eldritch Knight, can I attune to my fangs and then make them disappear? Can I attune to your fangs and make them disappear?
Into a pocket dimension, just be like, they don't exist.
I'm like, sure, your vampire can have dentures. The Hexblood as well is pretty interesting, although you understand my opinion on Fae. The Reborn was a bit disappointing, though. It was just general being undead stuff, and that's lame.
What is the
as
Hexblood?
for the Switch,
I didn't fully read the document.
How could you do this to me? So the Hexblood is effectively you are half hag, or like you are a child that was born because someone made a deal with a hag, or a hag made you.
Okay.
You have some relation to hags, which I think is really interesting because in the lore of hags, you're not fully a hag until you reach like puberty or something. So up until that point, what are you? You're just a person.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
That's pretty cool.
As for the changes from races to lineages, I don't care. I think it's good.
Yeah.
I don't like the name lineages because we've gone from 2 syllables to 4, and that is really tiring to say repeatedly. As a person who talks about concepts very often, having to say lineages a bunch of times, that bothers me just a bit. Other than that, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
it works.
I always see people who are getting upset on either side of it, of being like, call it a race, call it an origin, call it all that. And I'm like, if that's how you want to run your games, then that's fine. I made a tweet about it the other day, and it was like, hey, you need to stop doing that thing in your D&D game that I'm not a part of. It's like, you guys can do whatever you want. Like, if you want to do lineages, if you want to do origins, if you want to do races. By the way, what is it? I can't remember his name. It's like Gabe James Games. He has really cool origins backgrounds for like the races, and they kind of adapted that for like Tasha's and for this Unearthed Arcana, which is really cool. And if that's how you want to do your game, then that's fine. But I mean, being all like and angry about it is like, okay, well, some people are still gonna do whatever they want. So
I think if you look at it pull out from the perspective of Wizards of the Coast as a company, changing it from races to something else makes more sense because of just like the concept of an evil race. Like, as a company, they're gonna change it. But that doesn't mean that you have to change the name if you really don't want to. Yeah. And that also means that if you feel like they've still got things in their game that you personally disagree with, you are able to change it yourself. Yeah. It's the same feeling that I have with this is something that you said you haven't read a lot of it. You might not be aware of this. Going forward, the optional rule with Tasha's, where you can swap around where you put your ability score increases, how normally elves would have a +2 in dex and then something and something else, but with the optional rule would be able to put that +2 wherever they would like. Yeah. That seems to be the standard going forward because the lineages didn't have those, and there was a blurb talking about how both in this Unearthed Arcana and in future official books,
actually really
they were just going to put them wherever. And I'm like, fantastic, beautiful. Like, on one hand, I like the idea of knowing what a typical member of the race would like be positioned as, I guess. But on the other end, I'm just going to put them anywhere I want if I have that freedom. It's so much better for role-playing.
Yes, I agree with that very much as well. I'm glad that they're moving forward with that. They didn't just go, okay, so we address this, and you can just ignore it. Anyways, it's like they're continuing with the rest of their books. They're going to be like this. So, you have any thoughts, Spencer?
I haven't read the Unearthed Arcana.
Oh, okay.
I typically don't. That's just for Davvy.
Don't you want to take part in your community?
Not currently, no. I only really ever look over them when I'm making a new character. Because if I find something that I really like, I'm going to want to play it. And we don't have a lot of games that we play in currently.
I made a video talking about ones I didn't like, and then everybody got mad at me.
Yeah, that seems to be the trend.
Yep. So, it's time for the genre jar, guys.
The very full jar that is never.
The very full jar, it's like, whoa!
Yeah, so full.
See how full that is? Look, Davvy, listen to how full this is. Wow, there's so many papers in there. All right, let's stick our hand in. How about you do it this time?
I always do.
With the power of role-playing, anything is possible.
Did you guys hear how full that was when I stuck my hand in it?
Super full.
Oh, we got the monsters, D&D monsters.
Oh, this is the one we skipped from Colton last time. So
Legends.
Let's do it. So what is, Davvy, Mr. Chapman?
Oh no.
D. Chapman. What is your top 5 monsters from D&D?
Please.
Or just from Spooky Legends?
Please.
Or anything.
Chapman is my father. You can call me D.
Oh.
Hey, Big D, what's your top 5 monsters in D&D or in general folklore?
Or in general folklore. Oh no, people are asking me for a top 10 list. So you'll notice I never do top 10 lists in my own on my own channel. I did it once, and that was just to see whether or not top 10 videos do well. But I hate quantifying things, and when you put me on the spot, I'm not going to remember any of them.
I feel like top 10 videos are like so like I don't know what's the word. It's like they're not full. Like instead, it's like you have to take everything and like put them into a chart. And then people watching them are curious about what the list is, but then what you have to do as a content creator is go through and talk about each one, but people just want to know what your list is. So they end up just not listening to you and just going, what is your top 10? And like skip through the video and they go, okay. So like, I feel like everybody loses.
It just doesn't work out.
Yeah. I have a few.
You go first.
I have a few.
You go first.
I will, because I have a couple. My favorite D&D monster, number 1, is a gelatinous cube. I think they're just wonderful. I like them. They're weird and they're unique. And that's the thing, is for me to like a monster, it needs to be weird. It needs to be like unique. And it needs to have like it needs to either be really silly or it needs to be like really cool, but in not like a emo gamer way. It needs to just be like awesome. So like, for example, I think that like vampires are cool, but they're not in my top 5 because I'm just not like an emo boy.
You're not
or anything
like me.
that. No, sorry. But I do really like I like gelatinous cubes. One of my favorite monsters in any folklore ever is the Leshens from Witcher. Those are so damn cool. They're just like woodland spirits, but they have like animal skulls as like their heads, and they're really spooky and they're really creepy, and I really like them. I really like devils in D&D lore. They're really, really cool. I just like the idea that they I liked them after I found out their history, which was they're the idea that like angels were sent down to punish people, but they were just like so evil and they wanted their own place of their own that they became these lawful like judges who like wanted to damn people into these places, and then they also fought demons at the same time and got tainted by the demon blood, and what they think they're doing is right, but also they're devils, and it's like, that's so damn cool. I just think that's really awesome.
My favorite one is Asmodeus.
Fuck you. Do you say Zerial?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well,
I do.
That's good.
Zerial.
Yeah, Zerial. Not like Zariel or something. Zariel.
Zariel.
That's what it sounds like. It'd be like if I was like, yeah, you pronounce it Zariel.
Oh, I mispronounce Lariel Silverhand all the time.
Laryl.
Lariel.
Silver.
I put the E in the wrong spot. It's Lariel.
It's Lariel?
No, it's not. It's not actual.
Oh, okay.
But that's what I say all the time.
Larry?
No. Yeah. I call her Lariel Silverhand just because I don't know. I read it wrong once and then I never stopped.
Yeah. Oh,
but that's the only one that's actually on purpose spoken incorrectly. As for Asmodeus, that's just what it's called.
Shut up. We for years pronounced Kiogtom's ointment for no reason. One person said it and we were just like, that's how you say it, was Kiogoth's.
It was Marshall.
Marshall was like, he said Kiogoth's ointment. And we were like, that's how you say that. And we never checked it until like years later. We're like, you guys know it's Kiogtom's? And we're like, what?
I think what it was is we were all on paper. So Marshall just said it that way once.
Yeah.
And we're like,
okay,
sure, write it down. And then when we swapped to like D&D Beyond, it was like, that's not how that's spelled.
Exactly. You got top 5?
I'm terrified of skinwalkers. They're like, yesterday I went outside to feed the possums and I was like, I can't be out here by myself.
Oh, okay. I know mine's not like folklore. They're just things I've seen on TV, but like fucking weeping angels from Doctor Who. Mm-hmm. Oh my god! Still scare me to this day.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna counter your devils with demons. All of them are cool. Every single one of them.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Demons are just the
only
cooler,
cool demon is Grost.
the less cool younger cousin.
No, not at all. All of them are cool.
You could have it's the Virgin Grots next to the Chad Zerial. The Chad.
I'm sorry.
Zerial's fucking chicken feet ass.
Fuck you.
Most of the archdevils are fantastic, but Grost stands high above all of them as the only cool demon. And you want to know the best thing?
Devil.
Is he was a devil.
Fuck you. You don't know, Spencer.
That
He
is
used
not
to be a devil.
that has not been confirmed. That is speculation.
Shut up.
I believe it was confirmed.
You're wrong.
No.
Be quiet. You're wrong.
No. In Mordenkainen's?
In Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, I think it was, but I would have to look at the book again.
Some people also
any case.
think that he is a child of the Pale Knight, which was a demon in like first or second edition. I know a lot about Grots. A little too much, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe
Grots
not though,
is
according
really
to
cool,
Davvy.
I might be wrong.
We could both be wrong.
This is very obscure knowledge on a character that I don't really know that well.
Although a demon I really do like is Jubilex. I love Jubilex.
Jubilex?
And thank you. It should be Jubilex.
Is it not?
No, it's Jubilex. Isn't that stupid?
Are you sure?
I promise you. You can look it up. It's Juiblex.
Jublex.
Or is it just Jublex?
Jublex. That's...
Now I'm looking it up.
You know what I appreciate? I like a lot of the... Coming from as a DM, a lot of the monsters that I like are the smaller ones that I get to play of a lot. So Kenkus are usually fairly fun for me because I get to play charades, and also since they're not actual characters, it doesn't go on for too long. I love playing bullywugs because they are
The little frogs?
incredibly dumb frogs.
We met
They look.
we met a grung in our Tomb of Annihilation game, and I actually cried. They are the cutest little things ever. They're like little chaotic frog boys.
I raise you one Chewinga.
Oh,
Chewingas are also
I agree.
great.
I also cried when we met them.
Juiblex.
I can't read that, but I'm going to assume it's wrong because I don't want the truth to be my reality.
I want it to be Jubilex.
So the best thing is that Chewingas, you played Tomb of Annihilation, and that's where you saw them. They make a return in Rime of the Frost.
I heard.
Maiden.
We have a little mini of them somewhere around here.
They're like in one of the little first missions.
Because everything's cool.
In one of the little first missions, they're
ice.
pretending to be little people. It's so great.
They're pretty great.
I love Chewingas.
I also like a lot of shape changers because I always enjoy fucking with the party. Whenever I have a shape changer, I let like whoever I'm changing into know so that they can just role play it, so no one else can.
That's
know.
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, shape changers are very cool. Very cool. I like hags. I think hags are cool, and I think like hags are only cool because they have really deep, creepy, weird folklore that makes them cool. And I think like that's it. That's all it is.
There's a hag in Descent into Avernus, and she is the greatest
Yes,
thing in the world because all of her stuff is Mad
Yes,
Max.
she has like a garage, and you just show up, and she's like, "Hey, here's my crew. You want to go fight some other gangs who roll around in Avernus?"
My favorite thing is that so she has like a house, I think, but what I put on it is I made it into a chop shop garage.
That's
as
awesome.
like the main thing, and then underneath were mechanical chicken legs that she
that's
could walk
great.
around with.
I love Descent into Avernus when you're in Avernus. I've said this multiple times.
Right? Just skip
Baldur's Gate
completely.
can suck my dick.
It's so bad.
So bad. Thank you.
I tell everyone who's about to run the game, just skip
Yep.
Baldur's Gate. Start them at level 5, put them in Avernus, start them in Elturel. Boom, you're good. That's all
Yes,
you have to do.
I agree.
And no one listens. They're like, no, it's only 5 levels. I want to get the full experience. No, you do
it's
not.
boring. You want to so you want to go through a dungeon crawl bathhouse and a wild goose chase with a box that is in one place at all times that isn't in the bathhouse that you're supposed to go to, but what is in there is an NPC that will tell you where the box is, and then you got to go through another dungeon to get the box and find a sentient shield, in which you could just go to Candlekeep to unlock the box, and then in Candlekeep a freaking otter sends you into Avernus, and it's just why can't the players have just been in Elturel, and then the adventure starts?
The worst part is that it commits one of my most heinous sins that Wizards of the Coast for some reason just enjoys doing, which is they will have a seemingly important introduction for a character that never appears again. In Court of the Dragon Queen, it was Jam Nagleen Silver. She had this whole thing where you were eating porridge and she shows up and she's like, oh, someone tried to assassinate you, but it was secretly her.
Dude.
So upset.
Oh man.
And then she's never mentioned again. As for Rhea fucking Mantlemorn, she stops you and she's all like, "Yo, what's up? What's up? I am secretly a member of the people that aren't supposed to be in this city. I'm super important. I'm gonna help you get to where you need to go, and I'm gonna stick with you for the whole rest of the game." And then she is never referenced again.
She's this
until
badass
you leave
young
Elturel.
hell rider who survives Elturel,
so cool.
and she could have been. And then they just they don't even give her art. They gave her here's concept art in the back of the book, and then she just stays in Elturel and goes, all right, have fun.
She sort of gets art. In the chapter where she appears, she's in the backdrop of it, which is not the same thing at all.
No.
But it's something. And also, like I said, she doesn't appear at all, to the point where once they left Elturel, I'm like, where the fuck is Rhea? Why? Did I miss something? And so I turn to the very last sentence of the Elturel section. That entire segment of the game, the very, very last thing mentioned says, if Rhea Mantlemorn is still with the party, she stays behind.
It makes me so mad!
Thank you, yeah, sure. Okay,
So
I might as well.
However, Lulu is great, though.
Yeah, Lulu's fantastic. She's so well implemented. And you know what else isn't well implemented, though?
What?
The shield.
Yeah, what the fuck is the point of that stupid shield? It's like, if you take me to the 9 hells, I will be free. And then he just isn't. And he goes, okay, well, I guess I'll be in the shield forever.
Right. My party ended up trading him to the... Well, not to a shopkeep. Not to a shopkeep. The random necromancer dude that guarded the Tomb of Torm or whatever in Elturel, they attacked him because he was a necromancer, and as a show of good faith, they gave him the shield because he's like, that's an evil thing, and I don't want evil things going down there. So he took it and he let them down. And I was freaking out internally because it's like, shit, how am I going to get them to get it? How am I going to get that back for them? Yeah. Clearly, it's an important part of the game. So in an effort to figure out when I need to get it back, I start flipping through the book to figure out what ends up happening to it. And the answer is it doesn't matter.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
If it makes it to the end of the game, it stops being what it is. And that's very upsetting.
And it's especially upsetting because Spencer has played through the intro of Descent into Avernus twice. Once where we ran it by the book, and it was bad. And a second time where I tried to skip the beginning, and it was bad. And now I know my lesson. If I ever run that game ever again, just start them in Elturel. But unfortunately, Spencer is very soured in the taste for it because I only ever played the beginning. But I'm sitting here you have this shitty beginning of the game, and then in the contrast, you have a moving bazaar that goes through Avernus. You have a Eladrin who, a spring Eladrin who is trapped in the 9 hells, who rides around in a motorcycle, and you first find him peeing into the wind. You have another place in Avernus where it's like a tomb, and there's a bunch of old hell riders and soldiers who are stuck in their armor, and it's like Dark Souls. And you also have the final dungeon, which is literally a scab on Avernus, as if Avernus is this living creature, and you have to go through this scab, and as it took over a temple, because the temple existed in Avernus, and then Avernus itself tried to get rid of it and heal it like it was a wound, and oh my god, it's so good.
It's so good. It's good. It's shocking how awful the first part is, and then it immediately becomes amazing. So it's not amazing in Elturel, but as soon as you there's nothing wrong with the Elturel section. And then once you get into Avernus proper, there was a moment when my players realized they were having fun all of a sudden because they stuck with it, and that was when they had been given a bunch of infernal hell machines, a whole Mad Max Fury Road type vehicle business by a hellborn fey hag named Mad Maggie, and they were in the middle of a battle with a werehog and his were creature army. and they were mashing all of their vehicles together in a drag race, and they were jumping onto the other guy's vehicle as they were jumping on, as his stuff was jumping onto theirs, and it was amazing.
So cool.
It was like the most badass stuff
My players
in the world.
did that too. I ran it for my patrons, and they ended up like killing the driver of one of the other hell machines, jumping into that hell machine, taking it over, and then the rest of them were like fighting and picking off all the other ones. It's so badass.
Right? At one point, because I liked throwing in all of the different what warlord fights just as they went on through. At one point, they ended up near that bridge where there's like a sea of acid. And I remember I ran it where like sort of the point of it was that you were constantly getting new members so that you could build up your own posse. So they had like Krykendol, the bearded devil that shows up for like one quick second. He just joins the party. Smiler showed up. Like Smiler's pretty much great. Everywhere they went. Yeah, everywhere they went, they would like have a person that wasn't supposed to join them that I had join them so that they could just have this bigger and bigger like war band. And my favorite thing in the world was when Smiler was fighting Bitter Breath, the devil that had his wings ripped off. Yeah. Like he was doing a heroic sacrifice where he grabbed onto Bitter Breath as Bitter Breath was driving towards the ravine, and he was holding onto him so that Bitter Breath couldn't turn. He's like, "We're both going down this thing," and it drove off the side of the ravine. And Bitter Breath just looks at him as fucking brimstone's pouring out. And Smiler's like, "You know what? Psych!" And he piffs away and piffs back onto the edge of the cliff. And he's like, "See ya."
That's so cool,
God,
dude.
It's such a cool fucking campaign. You just have to get through so much bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's so awesome. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, guys, Descent into Avernus is really cool. Avernus is just really awesome. So you guys should check it out. So what do you think of Descent into Avernus, Spencer?
0 out of 10. Sorry.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It sounds fun, but we did
So
an
good.
entire like over a year campaign about the Hells, and
That's
then
true.
2 months after that ended, Descent into Avernus came out, and you were like, "I want to run it."
Yeah.
And it was just bad, and I don't have any interest in it.
Yeah.
I'd recommend Rime of the Frost Maiden. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, we
We're
played
trying
one
to play
game.
it.
It's just hard.
Yeah. It's been rough. Well, Davvy.
Yep. Yes. Yes, that is who I am.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And Spencer. And
Yeah.
Jake.
And Davvy and
Me?
Spencer.
Yeah, it's me.
Spencer and
Logan.
and what?
Yeah, that plant's name's Logan. That one right there. I don't know if you can see him.
Oh my god, I didn't know that Runesmith was guest starring.
Yeah.
As a fern.
Yeah. We're gonna make him a person next time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.